Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we have something very special that I've been working on for a little while now. It is my take on the Skyranger 30, a NATO anti-air system which comprises of many different kind of turrets and guns and things for anti-air defense, mainly for things on the Boxer. I believe it's on the Boxer, or it'll be coming to the Boxer, but I think it's on the Boxer, I believe. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about my creation, one that I've been working on. Now, what I've tried to do is any heavy kind of weapon system is to go on my Marauder chassis. I've created a Marauder version 2, which is kind of an updated version of just the original Marauder. There's one with a kind of flat back, so there's not a raised engine deck, it's flat, so if you wanted to add more armor onto the front, it won't collide with the engine deck. And the Marauder Mark II also has a 50 cal for the commander, and it has a APS system, basically what you see on the Skyranger, those red dots on the sides. They're basically kind of flares, so if it gets attacked, it can use its flares to deflect incoming rockets, or stuff like that, you know, that kind of stuff. What I'm going to show you today is I'm going to show you around the tank. You already know the hull, but for anybody who's new and doesn't know what I do in Scrap Mechanic, I like to build tanks. And I want to try and get into building tanks more and showing you them again, because I do like to build them in my spare time or update older tanks that I've built. And sometimes I don't show them because, one, I don't think anybody's actually interested. A lot of you guys did enjoy my Marauder, which I thought was really good, because on my channel, I'll do like a few videos and they'll get like not many views, but then if I do a Scrap Mechanic video, boom, it goes up to like 200 views. But to me, it's pretty good, especially if somebody's only got like 80, 90 subs, but I don't do it for that. I do it to show you guys the tanks I build. Maybe you can take stuff that I've done and implement them into your vehicles if you build tanks. If you do build tanks, that's really fucking cool. For someone who was an ex-tank crewman, doing this stuff is just always a passion of mine and such a hobby, and I just love building tanks because the game allows me to. For the fact that you don't just get pre-made models, you build everything from scratch, which is fantastic. But I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to show you around my Skyranger 30. So firstly, we'll come to the front of the vehicle, as always. So you've got your front headlights, your two fire extinguishers, the little red things. You also have your emergency lights. There's these two at the front, and there's also two at the back as well. On the left of the cannon, you have a gunner's kind of sight. So it's a standard 0 times sight. So he can basically just see what's in front of him while they're traveling or whatever. So he can use it, especially with that 50 cal that's on the front. I model that off the Google images I could find of the Skyranger 30. I basically just took some inspiration. I didn't copy it completely, but I just took some inspiration because the turret is completely different to what you would see on the actual Skyranger 30. Nothing too much more on the hull. You've got your idler wheels and you've got the upper and lower glacis plate, so nothing really too amazing there. We will now go on to the sides. So I'll pretty much just show you the right hand side of the tank because the left hand side is exactly the same, so there's no point going around. You have your side skirt, you have your 5 road wheels, your sprocket at the back, your raised engine deck, and on the side of the turret you've got your smoke grenade dischargers and your APS, your flares. They are working, but only to activate them. They don't actually work as deterring a rocket, which I don't actually know yet. They might do, but I haven't incorporated that into the tank. I've kind of just put it together, tested it and gone, right, that's cool, that works, and not really gone into the intricacies of the tank. That I could make it, you know, I could make it better, I could add a lot more. It is currently on the ramp, as you can tell by the amazing frame rate I'm getting, because if I take it off the lift, which I'm going to have to in a minute, to show you the inside of the tank and show you the turret traverse and the gun elevation, the gun fire and all that good stuff, it's going to have to come off the lift. And anybody who hasn't watched any of my tank videos before, I build big vehicles and they are heavy and the game doesn't like it, so they lag a lot, which is a pain because a lot of the time if I want to show you something, I have to weld the turret to the hull just to get some frames back. But this isn't as heavy as something like my Marauder, even though it's still heavy and it's still going to lag anyway, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Welcome to the rear of the tank. Nothing really amazing at the back here. You can see the sprockets, you can see the vents for the engine or the pack. As you can see as well, you've got your orange emergency lights, the things you saw at the front as well. And there are 2 sets of red lights. The outer ones, I believe, are for the headlights. So when you turn the headlights on, they also come on. And the inner ones, when you brake or reverse, they go red as well. Nothing too amazing. At the back of the turret, there's not much you can see at the back of the turret, but it's completely empty. There's nothing there. I was thinking of putting a basket, got a crew equipment and stuff like that, but I was like, I don't know if I will. I might do. Like, this is still a prototype kind of vehicle, and it's not bad. I think that when I go to make a smaller version, I got loads more vehicles to show you. I'm trying to build an actual inventory. I'm trying to build Land Rovers, trucks, IFVs, AFVs, troop carriers. I've got a main battle tank, need a recovery vehicle, and I need a few anti-air. No tank destroyers because an MBT is basically a tank destroyer. But we will get onto that when I actually get the vehicles up and running. But that's the back of the tank, nothing amazing, same as the front and the sides. So we can get onto the top of the vehicle and I can show you the engine deck at the back. I can show you where the driver sits, even though I can't go in because I'd have to drop it off the lift. And the fact that the gun is on top. So if I was to get in and try and get out, I'd get stuck because I fucking hate this game. And I'll show you the top of the turret as well. So we're on top of the hull now, and as you can see in there, you have the driver's periscope. He's not the most armoured out of everybody. His thickness between him and the outside wall is only 1 block, because I couldn't make it any thicker, really. The fact that I'd have to move the driver's hatch forward is taking up basically the armour here, which would then make that a weak spot, even though this is a weak spot, but it's a small target to hit anyway, and you probably wouldn't hit there anyway for your first shot. So he's pretty alright. Good spot. Can't show you it because I'll get stuck and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to move on to the engine deck now. So this is the engine deck. Nothing amazing. The gun clamp's still there. It's the old gun clamp on the Marauder. I haven't taken it off because I was going to try and use it for the Skyranger, but I feel like there's no point because the gun doesn't droop very much, because there's a part underneath that stops it drooping. You got your vents and you have your little outtakes here. These are supposed to be little toolboxes there and there, and you got your little fuel caps there and there. So they're pretty cool, and there's really nothing amazing in here. So let's move on. Welcome to the top of the turret. There's, well, a decent amount of stuff to go through. Firstly, we'll start with these. The tank has 8 rockets, and the way these work is that they're tied to the gun. So when the gun elevates, these elevate too, which is pretty cool, because I think that if you're an air defense, you'd also want to defend yourself against vehicles such as helicopters or aircraft. So we've got 8 of those. You also have your commander's sights. They're not really tied to anything, they're modelled. I didn't really put any effort into them. I just kind of just welded them to the back, so they're just kind of cosmetic, really. You've got a hatch for the whole crew, because the design I went off only had a hatch, and I was like, well, does that mean that it only has 1 crew member? Which I feel like it does. I feel like it only has 1 crew member, so that's why I've done it this way. There is 3 crew in the turret, but I was thinking that I was gonna make it so there's only 1 crew member, and that would be the gunner, and then he would have access to the entire thing. But I just thought at the moment it's nice to have 3. We're going to move on to the commander's independent sight. This is ripped off the Marauder. So the commander also gets his own individual sight. So this sight can rotate 360 degrees, and I think it can go up to about 45, maybe 50 degrees. It's not bad. And he can use this to scan the entire area. I kind of ripped it off an Abrams, even though it looks nothing like an Abrams fucking independent sight. It's just my way of creating it, because you've got the camera, and then you've got the camera on the back, which allows you to rotate it 360 degrees and up and down using your mouse, which I thought was pretty cool, and it's what I have on the Marauder, and it's the same for how the turret works in this. The gunner uses his mouse to reverse the turret and elevate the gun. And here we got the 2 main armaments. We have the 30mm and the 50 cal. So the 50 cal is just a placeholder, because on the design I saw there was a GPMG, general purpose machine gun, but we don't have those in the game, so I replaced it with a 50 cal instead. This will probably most likely be given to the gunner to use as anti-infantry defense, but it doesn't elevate or depress, so you'd have to hit them from a decent distance. And we've got the 30mm, which is the, I can't remember the name of the cannon, but it's cannon used on the actual Skyranger. And this cannon can rotate, or elevate, sorry, 90 degrees. So you can aim straight up and fire at whatever's looming above you, drones or whatever the fuck. It can also shell eject. So underneath there's a little gap where the shells come out and kind of just fall to the floor. So why not? You don't want to get them stuck in the vehicle. And we've also got a little sight. That's the gunner's sight. So that was the one I was talking about. It can, well, we can see basically a 1x basically around there. So we can see basically what's outside the vehicle. It's not zoomed in, basically just standard. So I'm going to move onto the inside, and I do apologise again in advance for the lag, because the lag is horrendous in this game, and I just wish that there was a way they could fix it. But until then, I have to suffer with this all the time. So get into it. Oh, you loving that lag? Look at that. Oh, beauty. So I'm going to bring my toolbar back in, thank you. And we're going to get into the commander seat. So this is the commander seat. So he hasn't really got much around him. He's got all the electronics and all that Gucci stuff. There's no cannon breach, so he's lucky there's nothing's going to hit him in the face. He has 2 cameras, or 3, sorry. He's got that camera, the 2 at the back, basically. And then he's got his independent camera, and then we can hit 3. And it will allow me to traverse the camera around, so we can see the back cameras, even the hatch in the way. Lovely. And then we can elevate. And we can depress into the vehicle, which is always good, isn't it? Yeah, he can use that as an independent camera. So if the gunner's always targeting something, he can also then use this hunter-killer, as we say, which basically allows the gunner to aim at a target and fire, and then the commander can also pick a target for him while he's engaging another target. So then once he's engaged in that target and won the engagement, he can then traverse straight over to that target and deal with it. And then also, speaking of the smoke grenades and the flares, when you press 7, that happens. That's all he can do at the moment, but he can elevate and traverse the gun. So we can elevate the gun 90 degrees. As you can see, the cameras at the back do fuck all. They basically just spin, spin, spin. 90 degrees. There's a little shell port. So if I bring it down a bit and fire, that was 2 apparently. We can hold it down. Big fucking shells. That's all we can do. And then reverse the turret around. Isn't that great? Isn't that cool? I hate this lag, man. I do apologise if anybody gets motion sick. I just can't help it. I want to show you these things, but it's just so painful to do. We'll move on to the gunner seat to make things better. I am now in the gunner seat. So the gunner has 2 sights. His gunner sight, so he can see what he's aiming at, and his independent sight, that one. And that's the only 2 sights he has. Now, as you can see, I can't traverse the turret with WASD, because this doesn't work like that. It works with 1. Activate that. And we are now using the mouse to traverse the turret. Come out. I'm using the mouse. And then the cool part, I will elevate the gun. Get the gun in the air. Stop it. There's the rockets. And if I bring the cannon down, look at that. Now the reason you want to make sure that these rockets are out is if you press the right mouse button, you'll get that. So you do not want them inside the tank before you let that off. Showing that the gun still works, that the gunner can also fire the gun, because if he couldn't, then they'd be fucking pointless. And you can see in that camera. And yes, they still work. But you don't want to have them go off in the tank, believe me. So, yeah, so you've got your commander, gunner, and, well, a second operator, but I'd basically just get rid of them completely, I would probably put a bit down here for like ammunition, and then the commander would just be the gunner and the commander, because you don't need both. As long as the gunner hit the target and use it as a fucking rocket barrage, it's fine. Get that up again and then even more lag. It's fun, isn't it? It's great. It's great fun. Yeah, it traverses 360 degrees, as you saw. Lovely. Look at that. Beautiful. Bring it back to its original position. Lovely. So the tank is armoured, the hull, but the turret isn't, because I feel like there's literally no fucking point. It's got armoured blocks, but no armour. Inside the hull, there's armour. Turret doesn't have any, because if you're going to get hit, it's not going to do you any fucking favours anyway. And tank combat is very skewed in this game. You can put armour on, but shell will just... it won't do what a shell would do in real life. A shell would penetrate and then do damage on the inside, whereas it just causes a radius of blocks to basically fucking explode. So not great. I'm going to get out of the tank and stop you suffering with this horrible fucking frame rate. So there we have it, a short-ish video on my Skyranger, my Marauder Skyranger. It's a heavily work in progress, even though it's almost finished. If you think about it, it just needs a few tweaks and it will be good to go for the production line, because this is the first prototype. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please let me know that you did enjoy it. Please give me a like and subscribe. If you have any questions about how I design my vehicles, please let me know. If you want to take any of my designs away, if you want to replicate them or stuff like that, I'm not one of these people that goes, you can't do that, that's mine, because I basically copy things from other things as well. Like the Marauder isn't real. It's basically a tank that I took, an older prototype of a tank that I made, and basically modernized it. This is the same thing. This thing doesn't exist either. And I can't make tanks realistic to a T. I basically have to do something that makes them not real. You can look at the hull and go, well, it looks like a Chally hull. Well, it kind of is, yeah, because I've modelled it off a Chally, but it's not Chally at all. I've been on a Chally, I crewed a Chally, I know it's not the same, but I really hope you did enjoy. If you did, please tell me, because I want to know that you guys want to see scrap mechanic content. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. It just feels that a lot of people here like scrap mechanic more than the other videos I do, because my top video of all time for 6,000 views is a scrap mechanic video. It was a top 10 video that I made a long time ago, where I basically fucked the video up anyway. Will I go back and redo it? I don't know, probably not. Just, it was the pain in the ass of building the vehicles in the first place. Thank you genuinely for watching, and thank you for the recent support. I know that it's weird that I've gone back into videos now, but I recently got upgraded with fiber and I'm loving the internet. I really am. And the fact that I can come and make more videos now and upload them quicker and more effectively, instead of having to wait a night to do it, because it's a nightmare. Generally it's a nightmare, but now I can actually do it. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers guys. Thank you.